this week's Close FC Talks podcast. We were a bit late because each one of us was under the cosh because of the vaccine, but I mean, here we are. So I think a lot happened this week too. The FA Cup final, La Liga top four, Premier League top four. So we've got a lot to talk about. And I think we should start with the FA Cup final. Like Arav, what were your views on?
So the FA Cup was this Saturday, and it was the first time the fans were back in a long time. There was 21,000 fans allowed inside Wembley Stadium. And it was so much better listening to them and their reactions than the fake fan voices that we've got accustomed to in the last few days. The match overall, at the start, Johnny Evans was started by Leicester, but he was pretty off the pace because he was injured, and by then Chelsea were dominating, but somehow didn't score. After Brendan Rodgers made the substitution, it was a pretty good game, quite an open game after halftime. Uh, Leicester scored. Yuri Tillman scored a beautiful goal as we saw the long range effort.
Just to stop you there, just on the topic of that goal, do you think the goal should have stood because of the handball in while it happened, in the play it happened? I mean,
Yeah, because as explained by an ex-referee on the show only, they said that the goal wasn't a direct act of, wasn't because of the handball. It also the arm was in a pretty natural position, so he couldn't have done anything about it. So I think the goal correctly stood.
but I mean, while watching the United Roma match, it almost happened. The United Roma match and the Liverpool Leeds match at the start of the season happened both of the times where a ball hit somebody on the leg and ricocheted onto their arms. Especially the Leeds Liverpool match, where I think Robin Koch's hands were by his side inside the penalty area and it hit his thigh onto his hand. I mentioned this in one of the previous episodes as well, and a penalty was given. So why is there so much ambiguity in VAR and refereeing decisions? Why isn't there one law states that if it hits the hand this way, it's a handball. If not, it's not. I mean, we are seeing one match
So
it being given, one match it not being given.
handball is a very controversial topic. It's a total gray area in football. So it's up to the referee's judgment of what he believes is correct and his implementation of the rule. At the start of the season, it wasn't given, but at midpoint of the season, the rules were also changed and revamped. So I
But it
believe that
happened with
this was as a
Pogba a
reason
couple of
of
weeks
that.
ago. Okay, in the Roma first leg match, the first penalty Roma won, it was because of the Pogba
Yeah.
handball, right? Where it ricocheted off his foot onto his arm. And
Yeah.
even though the
So
arm was far away from the body, it was in a natural position because when you slide, your arm always goes away from the body. You can't slide with the arm side there, right?
yeah,
You
so
need
the
momentum.
referees were
So
correctly criticized for that decision, and they did come out and say that it was the wrong decision made. So I think Yuri Tielemans' goal in the FA Cup stood correctly. Also in the match, Chelsea started to dominate later on. Schmeichel made 2 to 3 huge saves. I don't know how less Chelsea didn't score. They also had a goal ruled out, and looking at Chilwell celebrate against his former
there was
club, then have his expression after the goal was ruled out was another golden moment in the match.
it was
And I'm
glorious.
pretty
I mean,
happy
the
for
fans booed him and he celebrated in front of him. Then the goal was disallowed. That is football
yeah.
at its best.
I'm pretty happy to see that Kuntop, the now owner of Leicester City, dedicated the trophy to his late
Yeah.
great owner of Leicester, Vichai
Srivadhana
Prabha.
Prabha,
Yeah.
quite a big
So
name.
it was a huge moment for the club after winning the Premier League in 2016 and now FA Cup success in 21. So a pretty successful span for them, and the only way headed for them is the top now.
Well, I think it was well deserved. Leicester played really well. It was a tactical masterclass of Brendan Rodgers where he knew Chelsea would have the possession, Chelsea would have the chances, and he had to attack with pace, power, precision, and moments would win the game. And that's what it did. I mean, it was one of the most memorable or legendary FA Cup final goals. And I'm not kidding. We've had some brilliant FA Cup final goals. Eric Cantona, and even Jesse Lingard, all of them, those are written in FA Cup folklore. So, I
Also,
mean,
Chelsea Leicester is a Premier League fixture coming up for another top four. place, and
Yeah.
whoever loses is going to be
I
at
think,
mercy of Liverpool
yeah,
for
moving
the
on to
top
the
four. So
Premier
it's
League top four.
yeah.
A week ago, it was looking like Chelsea were on top of the world, Champions League final, top four secured, FA Cup final. But now it looks like Chelsea, the season is unraveling. They might not, if Leicester win and Liverpool win the next game, Chelsea won't be in the top four. They've lost the FA Cup final, and they might still lose the Champions League final. I mean,
So
anything can
it
happen.
as people say, it's the honeymoon period with the manager coming to an end. As we remember, Ole won his first 13 games with Manchester United. Unai Emery, who left Arsenal in a devastating state, went his first 23 games unbeaten. So is the honeymoon phase coming for over for Tuchel, and it's been a devastating week for them because they've lost to Arsenal, they've lost to Leicester in a FA Cup final, and these are two huge results concerning the top four, especially given that Liverpool scored that 90 plus fifth minute winner through Allison, which was a wonderful header. And some people did come out and say that Chelsea should sign Allison because he'd be the best striker
He's better than Timo Werner at heading, it seems.
and
Then
finishing.
yeah, I mean, yeah. The funny thing is, I think there was a stat where I think Allison has a better goals to game ratio than Jamie Carragher.
It's huge stat. So,
And then
who do you think
moving
will
on.
finish in the top four?
Sorry.
Who do you think will finish in the Premier League top four? Do you think one
Um,
of Leicester or Chelsea will bottle it up?
I think so. If the only way I can see Leicester and Chelsea both finishing in the top four is that if Chelsea win the match against Leicester and then both of them win the remaining matches, because Leicester have a slightly better goal difference than Liverpool. And so even if Liverpool win all their games, but Chelsea win the Leicester game and then both of them go on to win the final game of the season, then Liverpool won't be in the top four. So I don't want the Scousers to be there.
So, are you
So
sure that Liverpool will finish will get 6 points from the remaining six because they've struggled to break down teams like Burnley, Crystal Palace, even West Brom. They've almost failed to win it. They required a wonder Allison goal
I
at the
mean,
end.
you're right, you're right. I think they won't finish in the top four. They won't because mathematically it seems very possible, but they need to win both of their games, and Chelsea either need to lose both of them or Leicester need to lose both of them, which I don't think is going to happen. So it's difficult, but it can still happen. It's the Premier League. Uh, Anything is possible.
So, it was a huge weekend for the Premier League and in terms of the La Liga title race, as we saw when Real Madrid won 1-0 away, uh, and Atletico Madrid somehow won late. Last 10 minutes, they scored 2 goals to win 2-1. What do you think about the La Liga title race?
I think Barcelona, whoever's running them, should be sacked right now. How could they give Luis Suarez and Rakitic up for 7 million and 1 million respectively? They were stalwarts at their club. They had still a lot of things left. They could still play for another 3, 4, 5 years. Yet Barcelona decided to, I don't know, this decided to self-destruct apparently. It's
Yeah,
like
so Bartomeu
it's
was
or
correctly
you know,
sacked
I'm
after
telling you,
that.
the tactics Koeman has is Messi save us. That's all he writes on that board. Messi save us, please. And
I,
if Messi doesn't save them, they lose. It's as simple as that. Barcelona currently, I don't think they're any better than Tottenham Hotspur. I'm genuinely not. I think Tottenham Hotspur have a better team than Barcelona, and that's not saying a lot
the
because Tottenham
Harry
Hotspur.
Kane save versus
I mean,
Messi savers.
yeah, Harry Cohn. Seriously, Harry Kane will Harry Kane will score currently the same number of goals or even more number of goals than Messi. They have Heung-min Son, and well, that's probably it. But these two players can definitely do well. And Barcelona, except for Messi, they don't really have anybody who can really save them from any situation. So I just feel bad for them. They're a fallen giant. I'm a United fan. I've seen my team fall from grace, but I think what's happening with Barcelona with financial mismanagement. and everything. I mean, Aryan would elaborate a lot more because he's a Barcelona fan. So I
I
think he'll
was
know a lot more about this than you.
I was before I migrated to Premier League, but yeah.
Oh,
So
what?
yeah, I
You
mean,
you were?
yeah,
Plastic
How
fan, plastic fan.
not really. I was a Messi supporter, but when I after I saw his
you were a
downfall,
Barcelona?
I was a
Who
Messi
says that?
supporter. I'm going to be honest about this. I
Have you
still
seen
am
that? Have you
a.
seen that video where I think a YouTube video where a guy goes to stadiums and then, if for example, if he goes to Liverpool, he goes to Anfield and then tells the supporter, I'll give you £10 if you say I love Everton. That's exactly what you do.
Not really. So here's the thing. What I can point out from all like the last match against Celta Vigo was terrible, terrible. That's all I can say. Messi gave
Is
them
that why you start? Is that why you stopped supporting Barcelona because they become terrible?
not really, not really. But
Then
here's
then why?
because when I started following football, the all I knew about was how Messi was a player I really used to like fascinate
He's
about.
still a player. He
Yeah,
might
but
win the Ballon d'Or this year. So
not it's
And
not the player I support
Lewandowski.
now. Yeah, it's not the player I support. It's
so
now more of a
so
team.
who do you support now?
Right
But
now, I'm just
I
following the
mean,
Premier League.
I fell in love with Man United, and I'm still in love with Man United. Arav, it's the same. So I want to genuinely dig deeper in this thought process of especially Man City fans. Like, how can you switch clubs so easily? Because Eric Cantona said this one that you can change your religion, you can change your wife, you can change everything, but you can't change your football club.
Yeah, but
Yet
really,
yet
the,
some people migrate
it's not about migrating. It's about
illegally. It should be should be
God,
illegal
man.
to change clubs.
It's less about migrating. It's more about what I believe is considered to be the team I support. Earlier, I was supported Messi solely because I was very naive to how, what I really want to see in football. Was it the class of a player or was it a team as a whole? And that's when I supported City. The only reason I did not go for United is simply because there are some fans who boast a lot about United being the best in the world, especially when the Giants had already fallen. And to be fair, City was an
United
underdog.
can beat anyone in the world.
See, I rest my
If
case.
everyone's fit, if Maguire's back,
I rest my
United can beat
case.
anyone.
Anyways,
Okay,
so
so coming back to the La
La
Liga
Liga
title
thing.
race
Yeah.
and Atletico's match this weekend versus Osasuna.
Mm,
They had
So
16 first half shots. Luis Suarez hit the post. He flashed a shot
It
wide.
was such
They
it
had a
was
goal ruled
it
out
wasn't
because
a
of this.
Simeone performance, was it? Because Simeone is one of the most tactically and defensively sound managers ever. You can barely break them down, but they barely attack too. So they don't score a ton of goals,
That's
but they
been
don't concede a ton of
Atletico's.
goals, and they don't create
That's
so
been
many chances.
Atletico's mojo this season. Going away from the Simeone style of defending, actually attacking teams, scoring goals. They did that beautifully in the first half of the season, then got figured out, struggled a little bit in the
Do you think
second
that's
half.
because of Suarez
But
coming there, going there? Sorry.
so Suarez definitely helped them a lot. His efficiency in front of goal is huge for them. I read somewhere that he scores like 33% of his chances or something. So
That's
that's pretty good. And his 20 goals this season for Atletico have been far too valuable
yeah.
for
And
them.
then moving on, s- um, number one plastic club in the world, Man City won the Premier League title. Well, congratulations to them. I'm not being salty here. Genuinely, congratulations. But I want to ask Arav a question. Liverpool won the title last year. Man City won it this year. Do you I respect Liverpool for winning the title last year because they did it in a way everyone appreciated it, and it was like one of the things of the century. Everyone's hyping them up, everyone's talking about them. But when City win a title, there's hardly any fanfare. There's nothing. So I mean, my simple question is that Arab, do you respect them?
Well, definitely respect is there because the champions of England. They somehow now have the second most titles in England, third most titles in England, behind Man City. I mean, behind Man United and Liverpool. But if we just see the Premier League, they have the second most titles with five, eight behind Manchester United. So the respect is there, and to see what Pep Guardiola has done with this team,
Well,
even though he
on the
spent
topic
a
of Pep
lot,
Guardiola,
but
I want to ask you another question. I'm
tactically
not going to
this
let you go so easily. Um, so Pep Guardiola isn't the first manager who's won a title in Man City. Is there? I mean, Roberto Mancini won it with City when Sir Alex was United manager and he was dominating the entire football, like European football, reaching European
And
finals, winning the
Aguero.
Premier League. Yeah, exactly. He won the title. Then Pellegrini won the title, and then a couple of years later, almost got West Ham relegated. So I mean, you can see the difference. Any man, it's like you playing FIFA career mode where you can buy as many players as you want, you have unlimited money. It's that, right? Because in a COVID infested season, United spent 57 million overall in the transfer window, bought two players. City spent an excess of 120 mil. So Ruben Diaz, Nathan
So
Ake, Ferran Torres.
it's
I mean,
he's
do you think?
addressing his need. Pep Guardiola is addressing his need. So
Yeah, but
it's
he
not
is
like
addressing
he's
his
just going
needs.
out
But
there and
how many
buying
needs does he
whatever
have? How many
whoever
needs
he
does he
wants.
have? Does he need 7, 8 centre backs? Does he need 3 or 4 right backs? Does he need 4 or 5
So
right wingers? I mean,
they
there is
have
need and there is excess, and that is how normal people play their FIFA career modes, where they have Haaland, Ronaldo, Sancho, Messi, everyone in one team. That's what's happening, right? And
you're
because of
talking
that,
about excess. They have Alexander Zinchenko and Benjamin Mendy at left back. Neither
yeah.
are
But
better
then they've
than
sent
both of these
Angelino
guys.
on
They
loan.
don't.
Then they have,
Again, Angelino is not better than either of those.
yeah, but
But
he is another.
again, and
He
they're playing without a
so
striker.
But
Gabriel
Angelino is
Jesus
better
is
than he is better than Brandon Williams, right?
Brandon Williams. That's because United don't have a second string left back.
Why don't they have a second string? Because Oli can't get them. He wants them, but he can't get them. And I think there's another problem with the
You
United
can't
fan
put that
base.
blame on Pep Guardiola's legacy, right? You can't say that this impacts his legacy.
No, I'm not saying it
If
impacts his legacy, but I'm saying that I am not going to give him the credit of winning the title. I'm going to give the credit to Man City's owners because I they've spent more than 1 billion into this club, and it is a club which was no better than a Newcastle or an Aston Villa when they took over. They were
do
losing
you
to
think
Middlesbrough
without
8-1.
signing Ruben Diaz they win the title?
It was Liverpool signed Van Dijk. They didn't sign Van Dijk because the owners gave them money. They signed Van Dijk because they sold Coutinho. Hence they signed Van Dijk and Allison, which are stalwarts of their team and which are the spine of their team.
So
So
it's clear that Man City have spent a lot of money, but it's I won't put it just their whole success of 3 Premier League
and
titles in 4 years
yeah,
and
no,
countless FA Cup
I'm not
and
taking the success away from
Carabao
them.
Cups.
Yeah. I mean, I'm generally not taking
I'd still
success away
give
from them.
a lot of credit
If you
to
win a
Pep
title,
Guardiola.
you win a title. That title's going to stay with you. But to me and to most fans in the world who are not Man City fans, it feels fake. Even to the pundits, where if any team win the title except for Man City, there's fanfare. Everyone's talking about them. Instagram's buzzing, Twitter's buzzing. But here, I mean, Alisson's goal was more talked about and more celebrated than City's triumph of the Premier League. A moment in a match against West Bromwich Albion is more talked about than a team winning the most coveted trophy in European football, except for the Champions League, the Premier League, obviously. So, and if you actually looked at it, Milan won the Serie A. Their fans took over the city. Then then Man City won the Premier League. There were 400 fans having loitering around the Etihad and just having a spot of fun. There were 7, 8 thousand United fans who protest against their owners, and there were 300 to 400 City fans just standing outside doing nothing. So
So well, it's a club that started in 2012. So in 2008. So there are going to be a lot lesser fans than say a European giant
no,
who's
no, I'm
been
not
there
talking about a
since
lot lesser fans. I
2014.
see. I mean, when a club is new, it will have lesser fans, but it doesn't mean that the fans are less passionate. But I just feel the City fans are very less passionate. Like they're not okay, let's take the example of Indian City fans. I'm telling you, if I ask any City fan in India, they will not know a single player unless they type it on Google before the Abu Dhabi group brought them before pre 2008. They would not know a single match they played. They wouldn't have watched a single match. They wouldn't know the history. All they know is, oh, I watched the All or Nothing documentary. They seem to be a really good team. I'm going to support them. That's what's happening, right? There is
Yeah, that's fact. Like, why would you support a relegated team who's in League Two? That's
people support relegated teams, right? I'm not kidding. I have seen
no, but
Newcastle
as a
fans in
new
India. I have
in the
seen
new,
Newcastle fans in India.
but those must be fans whose parents might have been watching the Premier League, say from the Alan Shearer era when they won a league
No,
or
no,
something.
no, no. I have seen Newcastle fans whose parents did not watch the Premier League, but fell in love
That's a rare case.
because of
That's
the
one
because of the
odd
movie Goal,
1
Santiago
million.
Munoz. I've seen fans because of that, and
Again, I mean, look,
Newcastle got relegated,
Ajay,
by the way,
you can't put
couple of
all
years
of
back.
Fair
the
enough.
fans or all of the fame just because for a one pivotal moment in a club's history. It just happened that City just rose up from the ashes. They were found in 2012.
They didn't rise up from the ashes. I
They've
think Mark
performed.
Goldridge. Do any of you know Mark Goldbridge, the
Yeah,
YouTuber?
the United guy,
Uh,
obviously.
yeah, exactly. And he summed it up beautifully, where he said that it could have been anyone. Ma- it was just lucky that Man City got taken over rather than Aston Villa or West Ham or Everton or Millwall. Or it could be anyone who could have been taken over, but the owners decided, oh, it was Man City, and that's why. It wasn't built on anything. It was just that's what he said. It wasn't built on anything. It was just luck.
I don't understand where you're going here. So,
No, I'm just saying that it just
want to
feels
take away
everything around
the
Man City feels
credit from
fake, including their fans.
that's
I
your
don't I
opinion.
don't see any, I
I
don't see a passion for the game or the club from fans. I just see thirst for winning, and I don't say thirst for winning is wrong, but they will go and support whoever's successful. And I genuinely feel bad for the club that they have fans like this because they made a documentary.
That's your opinion. I won't necessarily agree with you on the same
Yeah,
thing. Just a couple of points that it started in 2008, but apart from that, I won't say. So,
yeah,
well, one thing that did improve this week was the refereeing, as we saw in the Liverpool game when the referee wrongly awarded the free kick to them. The Liverpool scored. Sam Allardyce went berserk, and then they had a goal ruled out, which I think was the correct decision. But VR has got a lot of consistency issues, and hopefully that will improve too in the future.
I think everyone has said it's not VAR, it's the people behind them. The people behind them do not know the game. They haven't played the game. They don't know how the body mechanics work. And everything is shown in slow motion. You can't judge a thing which is happening at full speed in slow motion. So I think to sum all of this up, it is the referees who need to improve the quality of the refereeing rather than VAR, because VAR is just a screen and it's the referee making the decisions sitting behind the VAR. So I just feel it's the referee that needs to improve. Anyways, Arav or Aryan can conclude the podcast. So
Yeah, so we've had a pretty fruitful discussion this week, and I think next week we'd like to bring you a F1 discussion or maybe
yeah,
our UCL, UEL predictions, and
yeah,
maybe and most probably we'll have our league champions in the next 3 4 days, maybe a week,
yeah.
because all remaining fixtures will be played out.
And I think we missed out on talking about Ligue 1, the French league. So I think we'll talk about that next week too. It's a massive underdog
Well,
story which is brewing there. So it's worth talking about.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of matches left. I mean, I think La Liga has gone down to the last match, so like there's
Yeah,
that as well.
Liga is on the last match. La Liga is on the last match. All title deciding matches. It's a pretty fun weekend ahead for us.
yeah. Anyways, then I think we'll conclude. Um, so I hope all of you enjoyed the podcast, and we'll keep them coming every week. So I think hope you have a good day.